Gentlemen, welcome back to the shop today. The puke green Ryobi is going back together. But first, we're going to have a look at the Lectrics. And then after that, we're going to give her a little poke, a prod, a little bit of a massage, and see if we can't get shit shooting out the gland end. As I did demonstrate in the previous video, this is not a bad motor. She ain't T-Bag, it's a name brand, Mabuchi, yeah. Japanese brand, probably made in the People's Republic, of course. But 18 volts, 300 watts, you know, she's got some jam there. And interestingly about this one, and I've never seen this, brushes have big teeth in them. Not little tiny teeth, but big teeth. And it's a bronze color, so it's powdered metal, copper impregnated. And then the brushes are real big too. And you can see where these have actually been wiping. I guess they do that so they don't have to worry about wear in as much, and it makes good contact regardless. Permanent magnet brushed motor. The fan, of course, is for bidirectional. You don't need a bidirectional in this one. The fan blades are straight, meaning you can go forward, reverse, it's still going to get cooling. And realistically, you know, you hit the trigger, the motor runs, it goes full load. Well, it goes inrush current and then full load for however long it takes to pound in a nail. You know, not very long, because that piston is just moving back and forth. It's not actually compressing. There's no air remaining in here. It's not like a built-in compressor. It's just bam in this piston back and forth. These motor companies probably live and die by signing contracts with, you know, the likes of TTI International, $4.5 billion in volume per annum, you know. So, you know, they're just going, like, they're selling millions of these. Now, unfortunately with this, they've gone super crappy on the switches. There's a micro switch here with an addendum spring in order to make the trigger feel, you know, relatively skookum, but it's just a crappy little switch here. Same thing with the selector. If you look at this, it's just a tactile, momentary tactile switch. A piece of crap. Right? The TTI logo on there, of course. The battery protection, it doesn't appear, I haven't had a battery apart. It doesn't appear to be very much, actually. Underneath this fiberglass tape is a fuse, and this is just a glass fuse. And then looks to be some shunt resistors just for measuring the current. And I assume the tape is on there, ask you me, in case the thing actually blows or gets hot, or the shunt resistors, well, those are pretty big resistors, yeah? The shunt resistors get hot enough to melt that cheapo ABS plastic. There's some elastic sealant there just to mechanically bind all that together. And the fuse I can't read. It's probably something like 25 amp. You'll have to, if you suspect, you'll have to test it and change it out yourself. So this is pretty cool here. The switching is not actually done at the trigger switch. It just sends a signal to this PIC microcontroller. I'm surprised it's a PIC. I would have thought it would be, you know, a Guangzhou Charlie or some nameless offshore microcontroller, but it is a PIC. You know, there are 200,000 different configurations of PIC, and I think they got bought out now, or they bought somebody out. Atmel, yeah. So the AVR fanboys. So yeah, there are literally a bazillion different ones of these. And we've got an international rectifier MOSFET device here on a big aluminum heatsink, and then we've got the opposite one in a totem pole configuration, so that basically when you switch it, you turn the power on. When you turn the power off, whatever's in the motor built up goes back to ground so that we don't fry anything. And the gates are on the same trigger from the MOSFET, and there's probably one of these little guys is actually driving the gate, and the gate is what actually flicks the switch, as they say. But essentially this would be like a normally open relay and a normally closed relay. And when you energize it, this goes closed, gets the motor turning. Then when you de-energize it, this one goes open and this one goes closed, so that we can dissipate that inductive voltage spike in the motor. So that's a half bridge there. And oh, actually we have a full bridge. Now why you would want that? You don't need any reversing. So if somebody can comment on that, because that's odd. But it is nice to know what kind of silicon they put in there. Rated 40 volts, 195 amps. Now of course you'll never hit that. Adjacent to the cylinder part of it, we actually have a couple of Hall effect sensors. And if you notice here, in the piston, this is a Delrin piston, low friction, there are, oh yeah, no, my mistake. The wrist pin that connects the motor crank actually has a very powerful neodymium magnet in there that fits in here and then wipes across in order to tell you, or tell the computer, the microcontroller, the location of the piston, so that it doesn't, yeah, so it stops in the right location and starts in the right location and all that good stuff. Just had a closer look, see what these were, and they're in parallel here. Power comes in and then jumps over 1 ohm here. So it can't be current limiting for the entire tool, because yeah, they burn up. They're way over wattage, right, for the current draw. But it goes over here to this, what looks to be an enable switch, and then looks like a 5-volt regulator here that goes to the main board. So it must be current limiting for the main board. 2 watts you could get out of this. So after seeing the horrible freight and the Princess Power Fister tools, there's nothing wrong with these PCBs. They look well designed to me. All of the reflow is super nice. All the wave soldering is super nice. So this Ryobi is actually head and shoulders on the electrical side, also the mechanical side from the previous video, as what you get from a discount tool retailer like Harbor Freight or, you know, one of those places. So I've had this on the healing bench long enough. Now I think she's ready to go back together. I'm gonna give her the old college try and see if we can't shoot out some eyeballs. Almost got this back together, but I see a huge problem with the design here. This is gonna give you tons of headaches. So you see this little momentary push button switch, just PCB mounted, PCB board mounted, excuse me. And there's no physical stop here for the trigger. There's nothing to prevent some 200-pound gorilla from pulling that as hard as he can. And yeah, that switch won't last. Now that you know that happens, if you pull the trigger, or actually if you pull this and nothing powers up, chances are it's going to be this switch here or the fuse. Just about got her back together, and a lot of times with the really crappy tools, this is the whole thing doesn't fit properly, like it's sprung as soon as you take it apart. Oh, there. Yeah, it fits together nice. That's a really good sign. Well, there she lies, together. Now, the question is, will it shoot, or did I fuck up? Went down to the local leather fetish bondage bar there and got myself some dead tree carcass from the freaks. I don't judge. Appears to go like so. Apparently it doesn't go like so. How's this fucking thing work now? Oh yeah. Alright, range is live. We are in one-shot deal. Okay, yeah, that's that little switch down there. That's what turns on the lights and enables everything. So will it fire like this? Just the trigger? Oh Jesus. I don't think it likes me. Son of a diddly. When in doubt, reboot. That battery didn't come with this. This was a bare tool. This battery is super light. It's incredible. Amazing. Distinct failure to chooch. Okay, flashing light indicate low battery, or troubleshooting need. See manual. Well, that ain't no good. No worky. If you can't fix it, fuck it. But I have an idea as to what went wrong. However, I have absolutely no hope of ever competing with the 100,000 or so people that are going to watch this. So I defer to the hive mind. What do you think is going on with this thing? We'll troubleshoot this in a future episode. See if we can't get her to chooch. Till then, thanks a lot for watching. Keep your stick in a vise. Dick in a vise.